Good evening. It is Iron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. We asked you to think of inspiration. Inspiration comes to you in every day. You may not realize it, and many of you do. Certainly, if you are thinking for problems, how to solve problems, and you have been worrying over something that's going on in your life or going on in your job, or a project that you are working on, and there are solutions that are needed, you are seeking. And whether you are verbalizing the asking for help, you are seeking. And that thought goes out into the universe. And your desire and your need triggers the universe's response to giving you that which you need and that which you desire, which is a form of inspiration. You may not always think of it as being inspiration because you have already been working at finding the correct solution to your problem, finding the right thought, sometimes finding the starting point, because that is often the most difficult part of any project. Where do I start this? What do I do first? And sometimes you are inspired. Other times it doesn't feel like inspiration. You just say, well, I have to start somewhere. For you know that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And while you may not think of that statement, you know this to be true, that anything you do in life starts with a first movement, a first step, a first idea. And while it may not be the right one, it may not be the one that solves everything or the one that brings you to your destination, it starts the process of creation within your mind, within yourself. It starts you on the pathway to creating what you want. Now, all of life is like that in many ways. You have gone through times where you are happy, where you are unhappy, where you have worked at finding solutions to your problems. Fearful sometimes that in that solution that you are seeking, that other good things will disappear and die. And it is an unfamiliar place, and one that is sometimes very upsetting to yourselves, being in this place of not certainty, of no control. But the truth of the matter is you do have control, not necessarily over the end results, because you cannot see them directly, and they evolve as you continue to take action and try to create that which you like. And sometimes you get help in dealing with these problems. Other people show up in your life and they help you to find solutions. They get rid of they can eliminate problems for yourself. Sometimes they come with good solutions, good suggestions. These are all inspiration that comes to you from where? From Spirit, from God. It is all guidance that is there. Sometimes you are just uncovering that which you already know, and you may not know that you know it, but it's there. For the solutions to all things really lie in the end within yourself. And although you get inspiration, it is merely a connection to what you already know. It's the understanding that this is workable. I can do this. Or if you don't feel that way to begin with, you start asking the question, how can I do this? How can this possibly be done? For every question you ask, you get an answer. And if you don't like the answer, keep asking the question. You will get multiple answers in time. And I think if you think of this and reflect on it, and think of times when you sought answers to what seemed to be unsolvable problems. Why were they unsolvable? Sometimes they were unsolvable because you didn't want to take the action you knew which would solve the problem. You didn't want to do what you needed to do. even though you knew you needed to do it because it was not a palatable thing for yourself. It was frightening, perhaps, or seemed too hard, or you didn't want to take that action because you didn't want to, I will say, suffer the inevitable consequences of perhaps losing something or changing a relationship with someone or risk that would happen to you. But if you can gather your courage and move forward in the directions that it is apparent to yourself, then of course you find that pathways open up for yourself. The action of moving forward creates more options in your life, taking steps, forcing yourself through your fears, your uncertainties, to take action is the way to solve your problems, to find the answers that you seek. And as it has been said already in this evening and many times before, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And so this is to remind you in this evening that you have everything within yourself, everything that can make you happy. And also you have within yourself those things that make you unhappy. And so it's up to you to decide to eliminate those things from your life if they make you unhappy rather. If they make you unhappy, it is time to let go, to get rid of them. They are not solving your problems. They are not helping you make progress. But sometimes that which is making you unhappy is merely the idea or a thought that you do not want this. And the understanding that your thoughts can be the obstacle to your happiness is a very important one, because you can change what you think. You can change your ideas. That is the easiest thing for you to do in situations which seem to be intractable. You cannot move forward because, and sometimes that because seems to be other people, but it's how you approach it, what you think about something. And if you can change your own mind and change your own thoughts, you will change the reactions of others, because you will say things in different ways. You will do things differently, and they will be forced to act differently. Remember this, that you are the person in control. And more often than not, the solutions as well as the problems lie within yourself. Look for both when you are having difficulty moving forward in your life, for that is where your inspiration will show up. If I can just do this differently, I will be able to navigate this in a different way. I will get a different result if I can think about it in this way. Sometimes it's not easy to continue to think about something in a way that was different from what you held before, the thoughts that you held before. But you can persevere by deliberately choosing to think the things that bring you success and happiness, prosperity, love. These are all generated within yourself. As you set them out, everything returns to you in like kind, sometimes doubled and tripled. So remember, the statement is also, whatever it is that you send out, you shall receive. Whatever it is you sow, so shall you reap. These are the statements of eternities, the eternal truth, this knowledge, which gives you total power. Remember this the next time you are in a quandary, seeking to move ahead. What can I change in myself to make this happen? And perhaps then the inspirations and the answers will be immediately in your head. Are there any questions on what I've said in this evening? or if you would like to ask questions on different subjects, please feel free. Just unmute yourself and call out your question.
Rancor,
Yes.
you know, those special beings who were here on Earth for a time while we are here, and we were inspired by, you know, I'm not sure about the other people, but I can say John Lennon, I can say, you know, different authors, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Shakespeare, inspired me. And so now that they've passed on, you know, well, Shakespeare many, many years ago, but can we reach them? Do we have access to them? Any of the very highly functioning humans while they were here?
Well, you do. You can always ask, but you do not have to ask for Shakespeare or John Lennon or anyone else to give you the wisdom. Simply ask out into the universe.
Okay.
Because there have been many incarnations for some of these people that imparted wisdom in different ways, in doing what they love to do.
Mm-hmm.
They somehow imparted wisdom that other people could live by and learn from. So it does not matter to ask. It is not important to ask for a particular answer from a particular person,
Mm-hmm.
because that wisdom and information that you seek is what is most important, not who it comes from. Because once you are in spirit and you have left a life behind you, you may recognize the other lives that you have also led, excuse me, and so that you know that that persona that you had for a lifetime, which was inspiring to some, was only part of yourself. And so, meaning the spirit would know that. And so it isn't necessary to address it to any particular person for inspiration.
We can't hear you.
There we go. I'm sorry, everyone. Something happened with the computer. I froze up, I understand, and that I am now back, and I came back muted.
Okay.
And we are open now. I am back on. So let me see. I was entering a question, and I do not know when this machine stopped handling it properly, but it just does not matter. Just send out the question that you want, and
Okay.
you'll get the answer that you need.
Thank you so much. Very helpful. Very.
Are there other questions? Well, someone speak up. Just have the courage to ask something that is in your head or that you're curious about. You can ask about me if you wish. You can ask about the medium if you wish.
I have a question.
Yes.
One of my teachers feels that it's necessary, if you're going to pray for somebody's healing, that they give you permission, and others of us don't think that's necessary. If they want to reject it, their spirit will reject it. So I would like your thoughts on that, please.
Well, yes, I agree perhaps more with you if you are the one who says that you can just pray for people. And if they wish to reject the healing, that it is their right and they will do so. You cannot force anyone to be healed, just as you cannot force anyone to believe what you would like them to believe or to do what you want them to do, except perhaps if you threaten their physical life, they might bow to your wishes, but otherwise they may not. many religions, you know, the phrase, do not cast pearls before swine, do like to say to not try to convert. And I think the important part is to do not try to convert. Certainly give people the inspiration if you can, give them the power, give them the tools. You can pray for their well-being, you can wish them well. These are very innocuous sendings of love that to someone. And if you send them the love and wish only the best for themselves, that is well within your power and can institute great change within themselves. So feel free to heal those who are in need of healing but have not asked for healing. Chances are, if you were to say to them, is it all right if I pray for you, for your healing, for your well-being, for your wishes and for your desires, that they will agree. They would like to have your prayers. They would like to have your thoughts. However, you might be a little bit careful when you say that in such a way. Is it okay if I pray for you? That they do not think you are being critical and saying, I'm trying to change you. So it might be helpful to say something like, is it okay that I pray for your well, that you are healthy, or specifically, or that you are happy? I would like to, I care about you, and I would like your well-being to be expressed. And I would like to help in that regard by offering up prayers and affirmations for your well-being. I'm sure they will probably say yes.
Thank you. That's good. You know, one time I did pray for somebody who was in a bad way. It's not somebody I knew. It was somebody who had come to my house and was not in a good place. And the prayer was rejected. I mean, it was not like she wasn't there when I did this, but it clearly came back like, I don't want your prayers, even though it was not, you know, verbal, she wasn't near me, but so, you know, that's why I always felt that, yeah, you should go ahead and pray, because they could reject it if they wanted.
Yes, they can. You cannot force someone to heal. You cannot force someone to be happy. And unfortunately, many people, even though at some level they wish to be healed, they want to be happy, also want to maintain their consciousness the way they want it, the way they are. They unfortunately often embrace their illnesses. So yes, unfortunately, you will feel that sometimes it comes back at you. But what a wonderful thing to come back at you.
Yeah, that's true. All
You
right.
just
Thank you
said-
so much. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So you meant well for someone else, and it was rejected, and it was returned to you only for your own well-being. All is well. Are there other questions? The evening is only as successful as the questions that people ask. We all learn from everyone's questions. So I do hope that some of you will ask some more questions.
I am, if someone else has a question, I don't want to take the time, but I'm curious about signs. Like oftentimes when you're in a psychic development group, you'll say, look at license plates, look at things that were significant that might remind you of someone, a loved one who's passed on is giving you a sign. I mean, is that a very primary, very kind of early form of communicating with your guides, or are you about to leap into a greater communication if you meditate more to open up that relationship with your guides?
Most of the time, the difficulty people have in relating to their guides is an ego problem for themselves, for they believe that what they are hearing or what they are thinking is their own thoughts and their own ideas and their own wish fulfillment. So while you may not think of that as being your ego, it truly is. because you are suppressing your own acceptance of what you are receiving.
Mm.
Yes, the thought, if you are trying to connect with someone for a reading or to give a message, we'll take it for a message which is less lengthy and needs much less information. What comes into your mind when you are talking to this person? It doesn't matter. Just seek that first word sometimes can be a help. Is it a banana? Is it an apple? What would an apple mean to you or signify to you? You know, is it an apple for the teacher? Or is it a gift that you give to someone in authority? That's what an apple might mean. A banana peel, as in the cartoons, people slip on a banana peel. Maybe this is a tricky obstacle in somebody's way. You just have to know and figure out, what does that symbol mean to you? Because it is all personalized. It is always something that is important for you to know, and only you can interpret. So that is what they're trying to get you to do when they are thinking of a license plate or something like that. Anything that makes you, that if you're desiring to give a message or pick up something psychically, however unlikely the thought that comes into your head, you have to be open to accepting that as being a psychic message. When you accept that as being the psychic message, then you can try to figure out, what does it mean? And by asking yourself that question, what does it mean for this person, or what does this mean to me? You will begin to make associations. And then as you develop psychically, you get habitual ways of getting information. In other words, well, we will say, like the banana. Oh, I just saw a banana peel. That means there's something that's tricky in your life going on, and it can be deceptive, and it might upset you. You might fall down. You might have a problem with this, because every time you see a banana, that's what it means.
Mhm.
And so that is what they are trying to, teachers of psychic development are trying to impart to you, that you have to find your own symbols that work for you. Now, you can't think of them beforehand. You can't say, I'm going, when I see a banana or when I hear the word banana, I am going to think that this is a possible problem for the person, that might be tricky, or it might be difficult for them to understand. But you can't decide that in advance. You just have to be open to what you receive and what comes into your head, and don't say, oh, that's not it. And that is the main problem with people who are seeking to develop psychically. They have a tendency to reject the thoughts that come into their head, thinking that it is themselves pushing up the thought. And it can't possibly be true, or it doesn't mean anything. I mean, what can you do with a banana? But it has a meaning if that's what you are getting. If it's a deck of cards, it doesn't matter. It can be, maybe they're creating a house of cards. You're seeing a deck of cards. Maybe they're taking chances, pretend like it's a poker game, and they're taking chances and betting money on things that may or may not be there. Maybe they have to get real. You can learn to figure out what these things that come into your mind mean, because that is what is happening. You just need to reflect upon, what could this possibly mean? And to do that in the class, you need to say something to the effect, well, I'm getting an eagle. I see an eagle flying. What does the eagle mean? And pause a moment and ask, and then look within yourself. What could that eagle mean to you? And then it will have a symbol, but it's personal to you. And that meaning you have to figure out when it comes in. Sometimes it's silly things. And sometimes it's going to be symbols like eagles or bananas or colors. I'm seeing purple. What are you going to do with purple or green or pink? Or, well, colors have emotions attached to them. What is the color purple to you in your emotional thing? What does pink mean? What do you think of when you see turquoise? What is turquoise for you? And you see, and this way, even though you're not getting much of a word, there are associations with the words in your mind that you will begin to make. And then after a time, you'll find yourself getting similar associations all the time. And then you can talk about them. And then you may even find that they're slightly different from person to person. And then you may not even get the same associations. You'll just get the information because you will have opened your mind and been more able to receive directly without the symbols or without the words.
Yeah, great.
It all happens in time. And please do not worry about taking away time from someone else. We have plenty of time. And if you keep asking, then someone else will get a thought and ask. So please feel free to ask all the questions that you have and not be worried that someone else is not getting a turn. As soon as they need to talk, they will take their turn.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That being said, I find for myself, it's harder when people I know ask me things because I never am sure, is it what I think they should be doing? Or if it's something that's really, like I may know someone well and they'll ask me something or something will pop in my head and I want to say it to them, but I sometimes think, is it just me imposing what I think they should be doing on them? Because it gets a little tricky when it's someone you know and they ask.
Yes, absolutely, because you may have opinions, but
Yeah,
then
well, I have
and then it is safe for you to say, well, if they are asking you for a psychic reading, or are they just asking you for your opinion? So you have to know the difference in what they are asking. If they are asking you to be psychic and pick it up because they know that you are psychic, and then you can only say, well, this is what came into my head. Take it. If it seems to help you, then you know you have received your answer. This is what came into my head, and this is all I can give you. Many psychics use the phrase, well, I have to give you what I get. That's because that comforts them. And they know they really have to say what it is they get, or else they're going to stop getting anything. They'll always be distrusting themselves. So you have to just trust that what you get is correct. And if it happens to agree with your opinion, oh well, it still agrees with your opinion. But you may find that it may not agree with your opinion, but you are ready to give it out because. So it's always important to say, well, I'm not sure if this is psychic, but this is what I'm getting. And I don't think it's my opinion, but my opinion agrees with it. Are there more questions? It's good to
I have
ask.
one.
Yes.
What percentage of healing something is dependent upon physiological methods, knowledge in the natural world, the human condition, versus belief and faith, fearlessness, psychological, and spiritual elements, or in fact, is it all boiled down to spiritual, and then it can take forms of specific techniques?
Well, I'm not sure what you're asking, but it seems to me that your question really would come down to, is it is it the belief of the individual in spiritual things, or is it the belief in medicine? To a certain extent, all healing takes place because of belief. How many people have felt they were ill?
You're muted.
All right, now we have unmuted me again. We are having problems today with this computer. I'm not sure what is happening. So as I was saying, is that to a certain extent or another, belief in the healing power that something will heal you is very important. If a doctor gives you medicine and you don't believe that this doctor is giving you the right medicine, even if it is the right medicine, it may not heal you because your belief is not there. If a doctor has given you medicine and you believe that this medicine is going to cure you, it probably will, because the belief is there. Whether people believe in hands-on healing or spiritual healing makes them more susceptible to be able to manifest this within themselves, because just as illness can be created by beliefs, whether it is a reflection of your unhappiness, and this is the way your body is reflecting your problems in your life, because that frequently, yes, I'm being a little disorganized in this. I hope you bear with me to talk. I need to talk about illness a little bit so that we can talk about healing. When people have problems in their life that they cannot address for whatever reason, in the physical plane, cannot solve a problem, fear what they have to do to solve the problem, they often manifest physical illness within their body. They can manifest headaches, they can manifest stomach disturbances, they can manifest all kinds of digestive disorders, aches and pains in their legs, things like this. And their arms, and they can become clumsy and suddenly fall and break a leg or break an arm or do injury to themselves. This is because at some level they cannot deal with this physical situation in their life. And so they create an illness. Now, they can go to the doctor, and they can treat this illness. And by treating and working on the illness, they are vicariously fixing the situation that they have been having trouble dealing with. They may give them the time to change their thoughts and their perceptions so that they can see it differently. And then it may not be an obstacle in their life. Sometimes the problems that are obstacles for yourself, you're all aware, solve themselves. You have nothing to do with it. If you just wait enough time, things work out. So by worrying about an illness for a little while, they're not worrying about whatever the problem was. And they are healing the illness, and at the same time, the problem heals itself, and then they can move forward in their lives. So bearing in mind that many illnesses and people's problems are often self-generated through their fears, through their desires, through many different ways, the healing can be very substantial, even though it is totally intangible. They do not need to have medicine. They do not need to have a procedure. Everything will heal itself in time, given the right situations. And although we say everything will, not everything will, but healing will take place because they want it to take place. So when you are asking me how much is spiritual, there was a spiritual connotation to all healing, whether it is that someone takes Pepto-Bismol for their stomach ache, or whether they go see the dentist for their toothache. Some of these are physical, some of them may have been generated by situations in their life, but they believe that this will heal them. And so therefore they are healed. So does that answer your question? I am not certain that I
Well, I guess I was wondering if a percentage could be put on it, which it probably cannot because there are so many different disorders and illnesses. I've been trying to prepare myself to help a 13-year-old who's come to me. And yes, fear most definitely is at the base of this. I took a workshop on this particular disorder today, and they're admonishing, those of us that work with this problem to be fearless, and that gets transferred to the client. And so I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to be praying my way through it, so that I bring the best to this person, this child. I just was wondering, and I know I'm going to have to work on the confidence and the fearlessness, trying to instill total acceptance of this child and confidence in him. But I guess I just was wondering percentage-wise how important techniques are. If techniques help support his belief, I'm going to give them to him, as many as I can find. But I guess what I was asking really cannot have an answer percentage-wise. How much is faith? How much is actual manipulation through drugs or techniques?
Well, you are
But thank
correct.
you.
You are correct. We cannot give it a percentage answer to you. And the truth of the matter is that in the long run, it is going to be what you give to him and the way you give it to him and your belief in him, which is going to help him to believe you and your techniques. So if you have belief and confidence in what you are saying, you will be able to convey that to this person. And he will be then inspired to try. And if he tries and he is successful, you will give him the praise and rewards that he needs to hear. If he tries and he is unsuccessful, you will give him the encouragement to try again, because he will be successful if he wants to be.
Yes,
And
you sound a lot like the teacher that I was listening to in the workshop today, who has the disorder himself. Yes, all those things he was saying. Thank you so much. Yes, I will. I will do these things. Thank you.
yes, I know that you will be able to handle every situation that comes your way because you have the love and the desire to be helpful to this child and to help him move past his difficulty. So you will be successful in what you do.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Are there other questions? Well, we have time for more questions if anyone has one. Well, since no one has a question at the moment, I'm going to just take a moment before I say goodbye to remind you all that you have the power to be happy in your life. And it is all up to you to be happy. For happiness is found in the active appreciation of your life. To look at what you have and to say, this is wonderful that I have these things. I am happy. To look at what you can do and say how lucky I am that I can do these things. And for people who cannot walk, or people who cannot see, or people who have difficulty speaking, they would say, yes, you are very lucky. So acknowledge what it is you have that is good and be happy that you have it. This is very important. And know also that a change in attitude, a change in your mind, a change in your thinking will transform any situation from whatever it is into a happy situation. If you can learn to think about things in ways that make you happy, make you feel happy, instead of thoughts of saying, this shouldn't be, or this is bad, I don't like, all these things drive happiness from yourself. Look at the things that are good in your life and say, I am happy because I have this. And sometimes you can even look at the things that are difficult in your life because they are there for a purpose. They are there to make you learn and grow. And in order to be happy, if you really want to be happy, you will have to find new ways of thinking, new ways of being, new ways of acting, so that you can overcome and change all these things that have caused you unhappiness. And then you will be able to look at your life and look at yourself and say, I am happy. I know I am good. I am worthy and I am deserving of enjoying all the happiness that I can. And I look at the things in my life that make me happy and I feel good. And that is my blessing and my wish for you, that in every day you can see the things that are truly good in your life and state, I am happy. I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Hi, I'm back. Okay, well, that's, I guess, about it for the end of the evening. Is there anything else that you might want to ask before I say goodbye? The silence continues. Okay, so it is time for me to say goodnight too. Remember, I love you all. Good night.
Thank you, Norma.